Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 6 of Big Money Talks with me, Big Money Drew Nicholas. Um, Hi, hope y'all are doing well. I was not well last week. In fact, I had to go to the doctor to really take care of my extreme allergy issues this year. Um, Today is actually the first day that I sound normal. I was just, we'll just say leaking all over the place. It was gross, pretty nasty. And I decided to take off of doing this show last week because I was really just not in the mood for any wrestling. I didn't even watch Raw and Smackdown last week because I just wasn't into it. I couldn't bring myself to even watch. So I'm not even going to address it. So it's like Raw and SmackDown of last week never even happened. And hey, it's kind of like it never even happened anyway because they were both taped. So yeah, we're going to move on from that. It never happened. We're back to business here, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. And let's get into it. So I want to talk about SmackDown first because from what I watched from both shows, I actually liked SmackDown more this week, which was kind of ever since the superstar shakeup. It seemed that I was actually liking Raw more the past few weeks, but this week I liked SmackDown more. I love what they're doing with uh, Fandango and Tyler Breeze. I think that's fantastic. The Fashion Files, I think, is really, really great. And even the Usos too. Like the Usos with them, they had this like cocaine rambling promo that got me hyped up for the match. So they did that Fashion File segment again, and did they get like that's like the guy introducing it, like the narrator, that kind of sounded like the Law and Order guy, like the real Law and Order guy. I would be really, really interested in knowing if that was the actual Law and Order person, narrator, whatever we call that guy. Um, yeah, and I think that I don't know if anybody noticed, there was a point where Brizanko, that Breeze, Tyler Breeze, takes off the mustache after revealing that he is Tyler Breeze and not a janitor, and he um, he takes off the mustache, and then Fandango kind of like quickly caresses his upper lip. These guys, these guys are so hilarious. I love them. Um, so another thing I liked from SmackDown was actually the women's contract signing. I don't really like Charlotte as the face because it's not really. I mean, come on, we all know that she's not really a face. I mean, she was even not really a face in that promo because she's like being all face-ish, and then all of a sudden turning around to Naomi saying, "Oh, well, after we're done, I'm coming for that title." So I didn't really understand that. You know, you have to go all in on this. You can't just be half-assed. You do. babyface turn or full heel. This silly back and forth thing is just, with her especially, she's much better as a heel. So I really want her to be a heel and not be a face because she was bad as a face. Um, I like Naomi's little like wig or whatever snatching. I think that's hilarious. Uh, Ellsworth, somebody needs to murder Ellsworth, preferably Becky. Um, yeah, it's funny. I started off right before talking on the show completely fine, and all of a sudden my nose started getting stuffy as soon as I started talking. So now I probably sound a little different from right when I said, no, right when I started the show. Now I sound a little different. Yeah, these allergies are crazy this year. Um, Something else that I liked on SmackDown actually was the Ziggler segment where he, the footage not found of all of Shinsuke's accomplishments in WWE. I actually really liked the segment. I liked the video package that they put together for Ziggler, and he kind of like drones on monotone like, but I think it worked for this match coming up because of how different the two of them are. He's the charismatic Michael Jackson / Prince wrestler, and then you've got the monotone, big shot, show off Ziggler. I think it's actually a very interesting pairing, and I'm interested in seeing what happens on Sunday. By the way, I really completely forgot about Backlash being this Sunday. And then Takeover is on Saturday also. Unfortunately, I'll probably not be able to watch Takeover live because I have an event, family event, on Saturday. So I probably won't be able to watch Takeover. Maybe I'll be able to watch it in the morning on Sunday. Um, I haven't decided yet if I want to talk about that. What I really don't want to like do separate podcasts for the pay-per-views right now. I feel like I can just mix them in with the Raw and SmackDown shows, and I'm only doing this by myself, so it's not like it needs to be a really long thing, I only want to go like 40 minutes tops per show. So, when I was doing this with other people, with Alex Briggs or anybody at Smart City, I was just, it took people longer time, obviously, because we both have a lot of opinions on things. This is just me. So I think I'm going to lump in the pay-per-views with the regular Raw and SmackDowns because it just, doesn't make sense for me to do a whole bunch of videos right now. Now, when it comes to Takeover, if Takeover is, I'll do this with Takeover. If Takeover is really good, I'll do a separate show on Takeover. Otherwise, I guess I'll just like briefly talk about it next week because it should. I don't know if it's 2 hours or 3 hours. But yeah, so we'll figure it out. And if I were to do a separate show, I don't know when I would do the separate show. So probably I will end up not. Only if it's like really incredibly great, then I'll probably do a separate show because I want to talk about everything. And then the Raw SmackDown show will become too long. So we'll see what happens next week. Other than that, on SmackDown, something I picked up with Kevin Owens. It kind of, I don't know if it's just me, but it kind of sounds like Kevin is sounding um, like Seth Rollins a little bit, like the same kind of cadence and sound and voice. It kind of, it reminds me of like late 2015 Seth Rollins. No bueno, by the way. No bueno on that. I don't like that at all. No good. Because Seth is boring to me right now, so I don't want to think of Kevin Owens as boring as well. So please don't do that anymore, Kevin. I don't want you to sound like Seth Rollins. Um, and then, like the other thing too about the show, gender. I did not like the angle at first, and then I kind of grew into it. Thinking about a friend of mine in high school who had the two hype friends. They were like his hype bros, or whatever you want to call them, following him around, always like, oh yeah, yeah. Like how the Singh brothers do with Jinder. Um, Kind of hoping that this ends on Sunday and we kind of just move on to better things for the title picture. Rusev was supposed to be on the show, but Rusev then was not on the show. And I don't know why, but I read that he said that they were doing, like he was at a hockey playoff, so he missed the show or something. I don't know. But Rusev challenging for the title makes more sense against Orton than Jinder, obviously, for the USA purposes, because everyone loves chanting the USA at everybody that's not a white guy. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not, if Jinder wins, I'll be very surprised. I'm gonna be honest. I really don't think he's gonna win. I think this has just been like a big promotional tool for WWE's India business. But other than that, Orton should win, even though Orton's getting a little tired to me as well. Most of the champions, to be honest, are getting boring to me, except for most the Usos and the Hardys and Alexa. Like, are really like the people I care about the most. That's weird. I never thought that. Owens is good, but I need more from him. I can't just get this like bland highlight reel copycat thing that was this week. Not really, wasn't really a fan of that. And then what I really was not a fan of is Jinder Mahal pinning AJ Styles. Like, I think this is what really like set me off with this whole angle. Yes, it was with help, the interference of the Singh brothers. It's got to stop now. I mean, it said AJ. It had to be the AJ. It could be like Sammy, but Sammy's in his thing with Corbin, so it's like, man. Well, we'll see what happens. So let's get to Raw. Raw was decent. Again, I could not watch either show live. Well, I did catch about 25 to 30 minutes of Raw, but I was not able to watch any of SmackDown live. You see, they had to name it live. I understand, to differentiate from the taped version last year, but saying SmackDown live is weird. I want to say, oh, I'm watching SmackDown live, but if I just end that way, it doesn't sound like I'm saying that I'm watching it live. It sounds like I'm just naming the show. So I have to say SmackDown live. It's just weird. So what I want to talk about with Raw is I'm really liking the Hardys and Sheamus and Cesaro. I'm liking those matches. They're bringing some intensity into it, and it's a refreshing thing to see, especially on Raw, because Raw was division were dominated by the New Day for over a year, and it just like dragged everyone down. So I like this new viciousness of Cesaro and Sheamus as a team. When it was just Sheamus, it was weird. You know, Cesaro being the babyface, trying to calm him down and whatever. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the two of them together as heels, and with the Hardys too. I think this should be fun for Extreme Rules, and hopefully, I don't know. Like for Extreme Rules, I don't know who I want to win. Honestly, I would love for the Hardys to keep the championships, but also Cesaro and Sheamus are really meshing well, and I would actually like them to have a little heel run with the tag team championship. So I don't know right now who I would want to win that match. Um, and then another good thing too was uh, Dean and Miz. Actually, I really like that match. I was just not sure why they did that finish that way. You know, uh, I was thinking about what would make him just like kick him in the nuts. I guess he was, of course, Miz was going to cheat first. Yeah, Miz was going to cheat first. The ref didn't see. Then Dean got really upset and kicked him in the balls. Um, and then, of course, the ref sees that and then calls the disqualification when on Miz. So I see. I work with like troubled kids and kids that are that do not have great home lives. Most of them. So I actually realized after I watched that, and I wrote down like quick notes about what I thought about it. And I said I don't, I liked the match. I thought it was good, but I didn't understand why um, that finish was that way. Because Dean's unstableness, forgetting that he's in a match and kicks a guy in the nuts. It's not very a babyface thing to do. But then I realized, oh well, wait a minute. Dean's a troubled person. Troubled like older person, late 20s to early 30s, that just like wasn't taught manners and how to act properly when he was growing up. Kind of like where I work, well, things that I deal with. And I think that interesting. It's actually relatable to me. So I kind of like turned a corner. I never like disliked Dean really, but it was like really interesting for me to connect that to my real life, my outside of wrestling life, and I really appreciate that when WWE does that, because that's what WWE did with Jinder and the Singh brothers on SmackDown. I was able to connect that to my personal life. So I'm really interested in seeing where this goes with Dean and Miz. Um, so here's the thing about the women's division on Raw. I don't care about them. like I do the women on SmackDown. The only woman I care about is Alexa. And, that kind of sounds smarky and stuff, but yeah, that's really the only person I care about. She is showing as the weeks go by how much better she is at talking than almost everybody on that roster. Definitely second would be Sasha for me, but sometimes I don't even like hearing Sasha talk because of her voice. So Alexa just stands out to me over everybody. And she's, I have nothing but nice things to say about her. And, the whole Bailey thing, I even love that too. And I didn't really like that from Charlotte. I don't know why, because I'm liking what Alexa is doing, putting Bailey down the way she is, that she's like this little girl and she's not really a wrestler, she's just a fan. And I'll go, do extreme pogo stick or extreme hopscotch. I really liked that. I thought it was great. But what's weird now is that Kurt Angle made their match at Extreme Rules if you're not sitting down, sit down now. Kendo stick on a pole match. What? Is Vince Russo back at WWE? I really don't understand why there would be any poles involved anymore. Unless Vince Russo was involved in some way. That's just calling back to a weird time in WWE. And we don't need that. We don't need that. But yeah, the match will be a kendo stick on a pole match. And that should be weird, to say the least. Probably the greatest thing to come out of Raw this week was Goldust finally putting us out of our misery. Thank you, Goldust, for breaking up the golden truth, which was never really a truth to begin with. And literally nobody cared. But I thank you. I thank you very much. Yeah, that was where I came in on Monday night after I got home from work. And I'm just sitting here watching it, extremely happy. And the crowd isn't even making a sound. So that pretty much tells you everything you need to know about Golden Truth. They're pretty much just like what Enzo and Cass are. They're a crowd hyping mechanism to just get a reaction, and that's it. That's pretty much it. That's what Enzo and Cass are. How you doing and all that stuff is just that the fact that I can say everything that Enzo says without even like looking at the words just tells you that's what that's for. You're supposed to say that every time Enzo comes out. You can't teach that. You can't, you have to say all of that stuff when they come out. So that's what this is also. The what's up, what's up, what's up. That's a crowd thing. They've got to hype up the crowd and get the crowd, chanting and saying their stuff. I don't like R-Truth really. I don't think again. Like he's fine. People like him. They like him. That's fine. But I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. And I didn't get Golden Truth. And I'm happy that there is no more Golden Truth. And they'll have a couple of good matches together, I'm sure. Where Goldust and R-Truth will go from there remains to be seen. And then another thing that was kind of head scratching to me was this whole, being of Enzo and Cass, Titus roping around, dragging Apollo Crews around with him. I don't really understand that. And why does Apollo Crews care about Titus O'Neil? Did I miss something there? I don't know. Like, maybe somebody can help me out with that in the comments. I don't understand why Apollo Crews cared about Titus O'Neil so much that he'll attack and turn heel for him. Why? So please, somebody help me out with that. Could just tell me in the comments, like, oh well, maybe this happened last week, and I just don't know. So, help me out there. Yeah, Seth and Joe, I don't really care about. Sadly, I'm also starting to not care about Bray because, this is the thing that they do with Bray all the time, right? Like, they put him in these big feuds and then he loses them, or he wins them with help. And that's pretty much everything that's happened with him for quite a while now. His most recent feud with Orton, he had Jinder's help and won the House of Horrors match. So, yeah, I'm just like, I'm disappointed in that because I really like Bray Wyatt, but they're just not giving me anything anymore. And I'm starting to not care. And I'm starting to not like his promos again. So I hope that they fix that. I don't have any, really don't have any, I'm forgetting the word, but any promise or hope that they're going to do that because, it's been so long. At this point, are they really going to do it? But, yeah. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, so Finn and Roman had their match, and actually it was a really good match. I liked it. I just missed watching it live because after them was the Golden Truth thing. And I'm fine with Finn losing because it did tell a story calling back to when they first had a match together after the draft, and Finn won. So now Roman won. So, I understand the story. But something that I don't understand is why they're telling us that Roman caused Braun to basically be out for as long as he is, because that's a shoot injury. That's not like a family member passed away, like what they did with Roman when Braun took him out, and then he was gone for like 2 weeks. And he really wasn't going to be gone for 2 weeks. His brother just unfortunately had passed, so he took an extra week, to deal with that. And although I had heard, I think that he was even at Raw. So that night, but I don't know. But my point is that why are you telling us that Roman basically put Braun on the shelf after all of the stuff that they've done with Braun? It doesn't make sense to me because Braun should be putting Roman on the shelf for up to 6 months, not the other way around. At least right now. If you want to build a real monster heel here, you're not doing it right. why are you using Braun's legit injury that, takes people out for multiple weeks and months? Why are you using that to get Roman over? That doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't like that at all. They could have done something where, Braun took out Roman a week or so after WrestleMania, and then Roman couldn't even make it to Payback. That would have been interesting, so they actually keep Roman off of Payback, and Braun has a different match, or they just have a completely, they feature somebody else. So I don't understand why they're using Braun's legit injury to put Roman over. It just doesn't make sense to me. And Smarks will say, "Oh, Vince this and Vince that," and I don't want to say any of that stuff anymore. I'm tired of that argument and people that say that he's Vince's boy, and they're like, Vince wants to perform sexual acts. You know what I'm talking about? I just don't want that. I don't want to talk about that. I just hope that something good is done and something good comes out of Braun's injury. There's going to be a fatal 5-way at Extreme Rules to determine who will fight Brock Lesnar at the pay-per-view that they have not mentioned on WWE television yet. The name of this pay-per-view, the Great Balls of Fire. Wouldn't it be great if that was just like a joke, like a big swerved on all of us that's actually not called Great Balls of Fire, and that's why they're not mentioning it? That would be really funny, actually. But yeah, so in that match will be Roman, Finn, Joe. Why? Why is Samoa Joe in this match? I really don't know. It could have just been a fatal 4-way. Seth and Bray. Those are the 5 men. And from what Kurt Angle said in the start of the show, it kind of seemed like Braun was going to be in a number 1 contenders match and win, because Kurt said that Braun had his eyes set on the Universal title, and it seemed that this fatal 5-way match had to come because Braun was injured. So I think it may have actually been that Braun was going to face Brock Lesnar for the title, which is, if true, extremely disheartening, because this is not a time that you want an injury like this. I mean, you don't really ever want an injury like this, but for your first title run, you really don't want an injury like this. So I really hope he gets better soon. That's pretty much it. That's all I really have to say. I was gonna, I really forgot about SmackDown yesterday because I was so busy. The Mayor Bill de Blasio actually ended up coming to my job for a town hall meeting, and I didn't even know that was happening. So there was like a surprise, and I was so involved with that I didn't even remember that it was Tuesday night and SmackDown was on. So this morning I just had to go through the shows and see what happened. Again, I didn't even watch Talking Smack, but I think Shane was on Talking Smack, so I'm quite alright with not watching, to be honest. Though I heard that Rowan did something weird with a balloon, and was kind of like acting kooky and stuff. So I'll probably check it out, but I did not check it out for now for talking about it. So, um, sorry if you wanted my opinion on that. Oh, that's it. Uh, Twitter. My Twitter is at NicholasDrew91. If you want to follow me or tell me things, you know, hate on me, whatever you want to do. I accept criticism. I accept love. I accept money. If you want to give me money, that would be really nice, actually. And hope I thank everyone who watches, or subscribes, likes the videos. Thank you. Bye for now.